Hello and welcome back to my Uberhood tour. Today we're going to be touring around Widespot, which, if you haven't heard of it, is a custom neighborhood actually. So this isn't a Max's neighborhood that comes with the game. This is a neighborhood originally created by Peni Griffin. I think it was actually one of the very first ever custom neighborhoods for The Sims 2 that came with like its own premades and playables and a story and everything. I've always had a real soft spot for this neighborhood. I first read a story which was a Build a City challenge, and it was by Quindominion. And when I was brand new to the Sims 2 community, one of the things that made me want to join was reading this story. I was obsessed with it. It was like one of the greatest things I'd ever read at the time. So when I started playing my Uberhood, I was really into Widespot. So I added Widespot as well, which was a little bit unusual, I guess, because normally Uberhoods are mostly just all the Maxis neighborhoods, but I wasn't really thinking about it as something I was going to share with people. I was just playing for fun, so I was adding whatever the heck I felt like. And I can't say I regret it, because it, I think, adds a lot to the neighborhood. And I also think Widespot fits in really well with the original Sims 2 neighborhoods. It's got all the drama, interwoven families, so yeah, I really enjoy this neighborhood, and hopefully you enjoy this part of the tour. It is going to be not just Widespot families. We've got quite a few premades living here as well, mostly from Riverblossom Hills, because as you can see, I kind of gave Widespot like a sort of rural design, and I didn't add Riverblossom Hills to this neighborhood. I just moved all the premades into other neighborhoods, so they're all hanging around here too. One interesting thing about Widespot is at the very beginning of the neighborhood, I think all of the adult women are pregnant. And one thing with my Widespot is now I think almost all of the adult women who were pregnant at the beginning of the game have left. I moved almost all of them out. I was like, this is a toxic environment, she deserves better, and I just moved them all to other towns. So now the neighborhood has like a lot of like single men or like elders. It's got kind of a retirement community vibe, which I do think suits the neighborhood. It's kind of meant to be a remote small town in the middle of nowhere, so not a lot of people move here by choice. There's a little bit of local agriculture, but mostly it's like elderly people. I think this is true of small towns in real life. You know, the youngsters move to the city and then slowly the population declines. Widespot isn't really, to me, like a growing town. It's maybe even a dying town, which is a little bit sad. Anyway, so we're going to start off with the Land family, who I think are the Sims who have lived here the longest, canonically. I don't know if that's right, actually, but, you know, we might as well start with them. I wish I hadn't clicked this icon. Why is it taking so long? So you can read their bio. It says, Homer and Bola came to Widespot to get away from parental disapproval. So they were like a runaway sweetheart couple. Now that the highway's here, their kids are in public school. And with Mary home, Bola got a job. Their kids face lots of opportunities now, for good and ill. So these are the original biographies. I haven't changed them. And you'll see all their kids have now left the nest, sadly. Most of them are at college at the moment, and a few of them are adults now as well. And one of them starts out as an adult. We'll get to her in a little bit. Oh, okay, their house isn't looking too bad even. Oh, wait, there we go. Oh, there's always something. You can see this is yet another victim of my missing custom content, so let's get rid of that. That was probably meant to be a nice, you know, plant. That it was probably something else, you know. The kitchen still looks alright. This, I assume, was books meant to be on top of the piano. Don't know what this is, don't know what this is. You know, just, you know, bear in mind it normally looks better. It used to look beautiful, and now it just looks sort of alright. It's not too bad, but I feel like not the best, is it? Anyways, so we've got Homer and Bola here, who are a elderly couple, and they're an elderly couple even at the beginning of the game. And they're a couple with a huge family. They start out with, how many kids is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 kids they start out with. And one of them is their adult daughter, Mary, who in my game has now moved out and gotten married. And then they have 2 teenagers and 2 children. Oh my God, what is going on here? Don't worry, we're not going to have them woohoo or anything. I just want the bed to not be all glitched out like that. I've never seen this before in my life. What is going on? Well, anyway, so Homer is a desk sergeant, which I think is the job he had at the very beginning of the game. His bio says that he moved here because his family didn't approve of his doing the right thing by her, so I suppose they got pregnant together. But they've made a pretty good thing of it. He's rich in kids and they've got all kinds of opportunity. Now that their kids have all left home, I do plan on moving at least one of them back in with Homer and Bowler once they graduate. You can see they are an extremely loving couple, which is always nice to see. Since he's a desk sergeant, you know, he's got his little crime board up here. Why is she winning? Who died? Oh, she got money from Consort. Oh yeah, because Bowler, she works as an executive assistant in the business career. So I imagine she is like a contact that the Caps have, like a local contact for Widespot. So she knew Consort Cap and I guess got a small inheritance from him when he died. That's nice. Nice of him to give back to the little people. Yes, the two of them have this dog together. I felt like they were the sort of couple who would have a dog. And also, this is their house. It's, I think, meant to kind of, this is the build that comes with the game. And while it's a little bit chaotic and strange looking, I believe it's meant to kind of look like they cobbled it together and like, you know, Homer like built a lot of it himself. So I've always had kind of a soft spot for this building. I think it's really fun. I think the design is really cool. I think this is also where I first ever saw the idea of having like the baby stuff in the attic. I think Widespot is where I got that concept from. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's a really neat little touch. So that then when their kids start having kids, you know, they've got the baby stuff ready to go up in the roof. I haven't changed very much about the layout of this house. I kept it pretty true to form. I also really like... See, I'm just pointing out stuff that is already part of Penny's neighborhood rather than stuff I did, but I really like how in the kitchen they've got like the different tiles, as if the floor has kind of been cobbled together through different materials that they got secondhand maybe. They've got a TV area, they've got their shoes and books and stuff. And then the kids have this great little study area in here, which I've jazzed it up. Not all of my custom content is showing up. When they had, you know, all 5 kids, obviously this made more sense. I've wondered about having them foster like the Newsons, but I don't know. Honestly, I think maybe they've done enough with kids. Bowler's youngest children especially, a lot of the childcare work was falling on like the elder siblings rather than on her because she was working. So I don't think they want to adopt more kids, but I think they will be very excited when Scott, who's their, I guess, third child, or eldest son, I think he definitely will be moving back into this house when he finishes university because he's a family sim. And he also has a girlfriend. I can't remember who it is. You can see we're getting into real territory where I can't remember what's going on. So Scotland, he's currently at Sim State University and he's joined the fraternity. But he's engaged to, you know, the Pleasant View townie, Sophie Miguel, the one who's like a bully. He's engaged to her, and it's interesting because he's a family sim and has this very like sweet guy kind of vibe. And then Sophie is like kind of a mean sim, but they seem to have made it work, and perhaps he's like mellowing her out a little bit. Perhaps somebody who sort of calls her out. Like, I think if she says something mean, he's just like, oh, well, that's not a very nice thing to say. And, you know, they actually are very in love, and I don't think she's cheated on him or anything. You know, they're quite happy together. We've also got Dixieland, who's living downtown. We'll get to her a bit later. Yeah, I guess we'll catch up with her on that leg of the tour. And then their youngest children, Delta and River, are both at university as well. Yeah, a lot of family members that we'll catch up with when we eventually get to the university leg of this tour. In the meantime, we've just got Homer and Bowler get to enjoy an empty nest, at least for a little while, until inevitably some of the children move back home, and then it's filled up with kids again in no time, I'm sure. Oh, another thing is that Homer, he's a cop, as we know, and his daughter Mary, their eldest, is also a cop. And so the two of them like work together, which I think is quite sweet. Further down the street, we have a criminal mastermind and his family living. So hopefully they can take that guy down at some point. We'll see if that happens in the plot. Anyway, we'll move on to the next house. And I think it makes sense to catch up with the land's eldest daughter, Mary, who got married to Valentine Hart. So let's meet them. After the hot tub dome scandal and his wife's diagnosis with Rodney's sudden death syndrome, international sports star Valentine Hart retired with his family to the quietest place he could find. Can he and his children recover from the trauma of her untimely death here? Or just make everything else as big of a mess as they are? So you can see in my game, they certainly did make a bit of a mess. None of his adult children live in Widespot anymore, but he has married Mary Hart. Mary, she finds herself pregnant at the beginning of the game with this kind of older, widowed man, and it's a bit of a, scandal in the neighborhood. And since Widespot is meant to be, I thought, a little bit of an old-fashioned neighborhood, a little bit conservative, I thought Valentine was someone who would want to do right by Mary. I definitely got the feeling Homer he would be the dad with the shotgun, like coming after Valentine if he didn't. But also the two of them very much are in love, and they've had 4 kids together so far. One of them is not showing up here. That's because he's away at summer camp. That's Hart. I guess we'll go through all Valentine's children to make it a bit clearer. So his eldest child, I want to say, is Candy Hart. She moved downtown and now lives in an apartment there. And then he has his son Rhett, who's was a bit of a man child at the beginning, but he's now living in Pleasant View with Sandy. And then I was going to say his youngest, not anymore, but at the start of the game, she's his youngest, Goldie Hart. She went away to university and met Mercutio Monty and is now engaged to him, living in Veronaville with him. And then him and Mary have had 4 more kids together. This is a lot considering he's an elder, but Mary is a family sim, and I think the two of them they're a very ardent couple, so they just tend to have a lot of children. We've got Pride Land, who is their eldest. She had him before she got married to him. I probably should rename him Pride Hart, actually. I don't know why he's still called Land. I tried to stick with because all the Sims in Widespot have pun names. I tried to sort of stick with that. So then we've got Lightheart, and then we've got Lockhart and Lotta Hart, who are the youngest, and they're twins. I think at this point, really, Valentine and Mary need to be done, but this is just what they're like. So Valentine is meant to be a retired sports star and a bit of a cad, perhaps, and so he lives in this, it's sort of a mansion, maybe not a mansion, but it's certainly a fancy little villa. They've got their party patio out back and the wedding area up here still, because I don't know, it's not like they're using it for anything else. Yeah, very roomy bedrooms. They've got plenty of space for these nurseries, much bigger than I tend to build, to be honest. I'm always putting Sims in their tiniest little houses. And yeah, what can I say about Valentine? At the beginning, he's a widow. He loved his wife, but she's dead now and he has needs, so shut up. Oh, for goodness sake. Okay, let's go pay the bills. I play him as very much like a romance sim, but since he's an elder, I think romance sims, they do tend to calm down when they're a little bit older. And he is a decent person, even though he doesn't have a ton of nice points. He does care about the people he loves, and so he does, try to do right by them, and he does really try to make Mary happy, even though they are apparently only a 1-bolt couple. I could have sworn they had a lot more bolts than that. How strange. And swooning just here is Catherine Viejo, who also lives in this neighborhood. She's an elderly romance sim, and she definitely has a little bit of a crush on Valentine, although it's mostly just playful. I haven't seen anything, concerning between them. In fact, of the two of them, Mary, who's at work, she snuck off while we were talking. She is the one I tend to see kind of more concerning behavior from. She has, she slept with John Burb one time, and she's also like has had a bit of an affair with Junior Mann, now Cap, who we'll get to later. But yeah, she has cheated on Valentine a couple of times. And the thing is, Valentine is a romance sim, and I always imagined that him and his late wife was also a romance sim. So I think it's quite likely the two of them would have had an open relationship, and I think Valentine would be fine with that. I don't know if it's actually what Mary wants, but for some reason, she still has cheated on him a few times. I think she is quite immature in a lot of ways, or maybe not so much now. She's got a bit older and she's had a few kids, but I think definitely at the beginning of the game, she's quite sort of starstruck by him and sort of getting to know him and realizing what he's really like and that he's just human. He's just a guy. He's not like Superman. A bit of a shock for her initially, and she has, occasionally found comfort in other men. I don't think Valentine he sort of sees Mary doing that as sort of her right, because he's like, well, when I was younger, I slept around loads, and she's married me very young and she hasn't really had these experiences, so he kind of is happy to let her have them because he's just not that jealous of a person. Yeah, and so these are their kids. We've got Pride here. He, when he was a kid, was always playing with the dollhouse, so I imagine him as a very sensitive young boy. He's going to be a teenager this round, actually, because he's the same age as... See, look at him. He's got maxed out nice points. You see him doing the little nice idol, which is very cute. Why don't you play with your brother? Oh, he can't reach. Oh, no. Oh, while on surveillance. Is this about to be another character getting fired? Hey, she had 2 body skill points. Nice. So Mary, I do think it's funny. She rolled the Captain Hero lifetime once. And I think Mary is someone who's so sweet and so traditionally feminine that it's almost a little bit hard to imagine her as a kind of action cop. But that was her lifetime one, and she is doing quite well in it. She's in the Weiss squad. In my imagination, her and Johnny Nigmos, because they are both I imagine them being partners, in work. They work together on taking down Loki Beaker, and perhaps next they've got their sights set on the local crime lord here in Widespot. There's all sorts of crime and gang warfare in Veronaville, so yeah, there's a lot that they could potentially get involved with, but maybe it'd be a little risky for them. This here is Jacob Martin, who also lives here. He's not really relevant, but there he is nonetheless. Hart currently away at summer camp, and then we've also got Lotta and Locke, who I've got to say, those are my favourite names. Lotta Hart is named after the character from Phoenix, right? And then Locke, I guess it's not really a first name normally, but I was thinking of Locke from Lost. And I don't know, I just think Lotta and Locke are such cute names, how they're alliterative, and they both work with the Hart surname really nicely. Obviously, there's usually proper wallpaper here. This is yet another victim of my custom content purge last year. Mostly I've kept the house similar to how it was at the beginning because it has a lot of character. It uses a lot of these wallpapers that are, very fanciful that I don't normally tend to use. So when I see them, I'm like, hell yeah. And they've got this little den at the back, which I really like as well. The family spends a lot of time in here just, playing. The chess table doesn't have it. Where are the chairs? Oh well. And you can see I have been a bit cheeky and fed Valentine some elixir because I couldn't bring myself to let him die and leave Mary on her own. Although probably soon it will be time, he's been around for a while now, but, he has a supplier, potentially. I treat Elixir of Life as a sort of illegal substance in my games, so yeah, that's the vibe there. Oh, this is completely off topic, but this over here is the senior centre. Since Widespot has tons of elders, I thought it would be nice for them to have their own little clubhouse, and then they also have a little sports park here, which I also think is a good lot for this town. Very low maintenance, small town kind of places. All right, let's move on. Yeah, I suppose I've mentioned twice now there is a crime family here in Widespot, and that is the Mann family. pictured here. This is Rich Mann, his son Junior, and they also got a cat recently. I can't remember what the cat is called. Oh no, yet another. No, let's just quickly add some floors so that it looks slightly less awful. Just to give you the idea, it wasn't exactly like this, but you know, it'll give a bit more life realism, I don't know. I hate this game sometimes. Maybe I'll just bulldoze this lot and move them somewhere else, because if I'm honest, you know, this one isn't my favorite. But anyway, never mind all that. So currently living in this particular mansion, we just have one single sim now, and that is Rich Mann. He's very much a kind of villain character. He clawed his way up to the top of the legitimate businessman heap, and now he's found himself a nice remote spot to retire in. If only he can bring himself to retire. And indeed, you'll see he's still working as a criminal mastermind. And he has his little secret room back here where he's got his elixir of life. Although his elixir has ran out recently, so we'll have to see if he can get his hands on some more of that. Recently, his wife did pass away of old age, which was really sad. You know, left Rich on his own. You know, she passed away in a fairly good mood, but it did feel a little bit premature. I hadn't really had that much time with Lana. But after Rich was left on his own, he has not stopped. You know, he doesn't really see the point in retiring because he doesn't have anyone to enjoy his retirement with. His son, Junior, we assume Junior is also called Rich, really, but he's called Junior mainly. He recently married Juliet Cap, since they're both sort of wealthy families, and I do imagine the Caps to be, you can see as well that she is a witch, but we'll get into the Caps in a future video maybe. I've mentioned before, I kind of want to leave Veronaville alone for now, but they did get married. You know, both of them come from these like wealthy and a little bit shady families, so they got together. Junior also has a daughter called Rose, who he had with Candy, who is Valentine's daughter. See, I'm trying to explain all these plots. With the Pleasant View ones, it's easy because everyone just knows the plots, but with these, I'm trying to give a little bit of background so it's a bit easier to follow. The thing with Candy is that she had this love affair with Junior, but she actually also was sleeping with Rich. So a little bit weird, you know, she was sleeping with the father and the son. And Rich is very possessive of Candy, and he kind of, to this day, is still like, he sends her expensive gifts, he sends her money, he like helps pay for her apartment. You know, they've got like kind of a sugar daddy thing going on, but Candy kind of on principle doesn't want to come and live with him in his creepy manner, because yeah, she didn't have a particularly good time in Widespot, and she likes living in the city. While she does have some feelings for Rich, she knows what kind of man he is, and that he is, you know, a shady, you know, criminal mastermind, and she doesn't really want her daughter growing up around all that and being kind of groomed for the family business. She's kind of stayed a bit clear of him, but I wonder for how long, because now that Rich just has the house all alone to himself, I can see that he's got to want to invite Candy over, and you know, maybe that would be something he'd pursue more seriously. Could be a tricky situation for poor Candy. We'll see. I don't want to move him to a different neighborhood, although I could see him living in Veronaville to be closer to his son, but then we have so few families in the Widespot these days, or at least fewer than we used to. And I feel like he likes having a little bit of distance from everything, you know, living in this like remote town, so I think we'll keep him here. He also is dating Denise Jaquette, who also lives in Veronaville, so yeah, maybe eventually she'll move over to live with him, I'm not sure. I think Denise, again, aware of what sort of man Rich is, but perhaps not aware of just how sinister and evil he can actually be, so yeah, interesting. But yeah, there he is, just sitting alone, giving financial advice on the computer in his pajamas. That is kind of his vibe these days. I need to think of more to do with him, honestly, because he is a really fun character, But all the kind of initial plots with him have been a little bit tied up and resolved now. So yeah, we need to think of something new for Rich to do. Widespot it's not coming up for a while. I've got to finish my Veronaville rotation first, and who knows, Rich might tie in some of what's going on over there, since he is involved with quite a few Veronaville sims. I feel like he could be coming up with all sorts of schemes, but I do sometimes find it hard to come up with things for kind of villain characters to do, especially once I'm attached to everyone. I don't want them to like kill off anyone because I like them all. But who knows, maybe, you know, if Mary and Homer like poke their noses in his business too much. Look at the house looking like a hot mess right now. You know, if they keep poking their noses in his business, maybe he'd be forced to retaliate, who can say. And you're going to see a pattern in Widespot. Most definitely. We've got a lot of families where it's elders and the young people have all moved away, especially male elders. It's like male elder central in Widespot. Because up next we've got, and so this is a extremely shy hermit, Sky, and at the beginning of the game he has his two alien children, Penny, who you'll remember got together with Laszlo, and Woody, who's currently away at university. Although Woody is he is a romance sim, but he's also extremely shy like his father, so I could actually see Woody potentially moving back to the family house after he finishes university. You know, because Sky is getting on in years, although you can see I've been feeding him elixir because I can't bear to let him go. But yes, at the moment it's just Sky and his dog, and yeah, he's getting older. And I've got to say, I think they just have the most marvellous view. Originally their house is like down there, but since Sky is meant to be a, you know, hermit who's interested in the stars and does a lot of he's a stargazer who got abducted a couple of times, I thought it made sense to put their house like right on top of this hill. And yeah, the view they get of the town is just gorgeous, especially this like cliff top garden. I really am a fan. Let me see, there we go. Yeah, you can see down to everything. Really, really nice, I think. And I think their garden is cute as well, honestly. I do try to make sure his children visit him a lot because, you know, he won't be around forever. And Penny, you know, with her hectic family, I think it makes sense that she would sometimes want to, even though she's an extremely outgoing sim, I think it would make sense that she sometimes wants to come and visit Sky. One interesting thing about Sky is that, oh, never mind. I was about to say he's never been kissed at the very beginning of the game, even though he's an elder. And he has his two alien children. He hasn't ever kissed anyone. But I see he's gone and ACR's gone and done its thing and he's kissed Pascal. But we'll probably ignore that because, I don't know, it just doesn't feel correct for Sky. I think I don't know if he's asexual. I find it quite hard to imagine him kind of romantically involved with another sim, since it's just never happened for him. But then again, him and Pascal do have two bolts. I don't know, maybe something could happen there, but I'm not that keen on it, to be honest. Since he does work in the science career, he's quite well acquainted, and you know, his daughter is in a long-term relationship with the Curious family. So, you know, he's very well acquainted with a lot of the Curious family. He's an acquaintance of Loki Beaker, Cassandra, since she works in science as well. All the scientists do seem to know each other, and they especially know Sky because he's like, you know, the eldest sim on that career, and he's a mad scientist, so he's reached the top of the career as well. So he's somebody that the entire scientific community really, really looks up to. He could be living in the city and getting huge, you know, massive amounts of work and really making a name for himself. But he prefers to kind of quietly live up on this hill and just enjoy his old age. I don't know if I see retirement being in the cards for him because he is just he's so dedicated to science, and it's not like he has any real, you know, other things going on. He doesn't have hobbies. He doesn't really have, I mean, he has hobbies, but his hobby is science, and it's not as high as it should be, I feel. I just find it hard to imagine him not continuing in the science career, maybe even until he dies. I've considered, to be honest, at times moving Penny, Laszlo, Erin and company into this house to keep Sky company, if nothing else. But I don't know if Sky would enjoy that. I think he is extremely shy and quite an antisocial person. You see, he's got 0 outgoing points. I think he quite likes his solitude. You know, when he moved here, he was a hermit, and obviously he had children and he did love them. And I think if Woody were to move back after college, that would work out quite nicely. But I think this is like a place board, but it's meant to be, imagine it's like his science notes that he's like furiously scribbled down. Yeah, again, you know, you can really see the signs of having deleted a bunch of custom content, but I think you still get the general effect. And he's still got the toys. These, of course, were Peni and Woody's when they were little, and when Peni first had her son Street. But then also, you know, when the kids visit with their kids, it's nice for the toddlers to have something to play with. I don't know. I think this is a really cozy little house, even though it's... What the hell's going on out here? Oh, dogfight. Oh yes, and I have the mod that removes the cloud, which it's nice for taking like an aesthetic photo, but when you see it animated, it does look pretty bad, doesn't it? Anyway, wait, is that... Oh no, that's Sky's dog. Yeah, so Sky has a dog called Luna, of course. There's always got to be a Luna. Whenever it's like a science sim, you know, eventually, whether it be an alien child or a dog, you know, there will be a Luna. So that's Luna. Yeah, I guess that's Sky. Again, yeah, like I say, a lot of elders in this neighborhood, and they don't always have like huge stories going on, but they are like enjoyable for me to play. You know, when I had play Sky, I sent him to the little retirement center to socialize with other elders, and he's always bringing friends home from work, even though he's quite shy. So like I say, he's friends with loads of the Sims in this scientific community. Yeah, just stargazing, enjoying old age. I am looking forward though to Woody moving home. At the moment, I'm trying to get all the Sims who were teenagers at the beginning of the game kind of out of college, and Woody is one of those Sims. So Woody is due to come home this round, and I think, like I say, Woody, while he is a romance sim, while he's a romance sim, he's also very artistic, and I could see him, you know, sort of like Sky, wanting to be the kind of hermit who lives out on the hill and paints like the beautiful landscapes. And I think they could be quite a cute kind of father-son setup. And then Woody could occasionally have his lady friends over. Or maybe he'd eventually find someone that he wanted to settle down with. We'll see. But I think that much Sky would be able to handle. Just maybe not like a house full of many, many partners and many, many children. I think that would be a bit much for his heart to handle. Part of the secret to his longevity perhaps is the solitude that he lives in. But you can see as well, he's got all these wants about Street, getting a scholarship, being an overachiever, getting an A+ report card. That's Street, who's Penny's eldest, that she had with Hart, who I mentioned before, and she's also got her twins with Laszlo. So Sky has 3 grandchildren so far, and he does have a want for a relative to get engaged, so who knows, maybe Peni or Woody will be handling that sometime soon. Peni does have a want to get engaged to Laszlo, so that could be something we do. Anyway, I'll leave Sky alone and we'll move on to the next house. So this is the last of the original Widespot houses, and you're gonna see, yes, it's yet another single elder male. We've got so many houses where they started out as like a big family, but gradually all the children have left, or you know, people have moved on to different towns, and there's just one guy left, and this is Hamilton. So at the beginning of the game, he has his wife Sandy. Oh, it's crashed. All right, here's the Beech household. I haven't shown it, but I have spent hours troubleshooting why this particular lot seemed to crash every time I loaded it up. None of the other lots were, and this wasn't even like a big lot or even a densely decorated lot. I mean, I guess it's a big lot, but there are bigger lots that have loaded completely fine. But similar to the Curious house last episode, for the life of me, I could not get this house to load. So what I did was I moved him out, bulldozed it, and then put back the original house. So it's not a huge loss because I hadn't decorated it that much from how it was originally, but this is the original household. One thing I know I'd changed is this kitchen because, well, let's get to explaining the family first. So this here is Hamilton Beech. He is an elder now. At the beginning of the game, he's a middle-aged man with 2 children, a wife, and his mother living with him. There he goes, checking the paper. So his mother was Daytona Beech, she's like the political powerhouse in Widespot at the beginning of the neighborhood. And then she's got her son, Hamilton, and he has his wife, Sandy, who cheated on him and ended up moving to Pleasant View. And then he also has his 2 kids, Virginia, who is living downtown at the moment, and Rocky, who's at university at the moment. So, adding to the pattern that we seem to have here, it's another single elder male waiting for his kids to move back in with him. I say move back in with him. I'm not sure if I see Virginia or Rocky kind of returning to Widespot. I don't know. I could see Virginia ultimately wanting to move back to the town she's from. She does have a family-oriented element to herself. And Rocky, though, I think he's always been very ashamed of coming from a small town. He aspires to a kind of high class, being an orchestra player. I could really see him living downtown. He's currently at Academy Latour, kind of rubbing shoulders with some of the richer, more upper-class Sims in the Uberhood. And he's got kind of developed a bit of a complex about being from a small backwater town. It's, something I'd like him to work on. Virginia, maybe we'll get to her a bit later, I'm not sure. Or maybe we'll get to her in the downtown leg of the tour. And then Sandy and her love child, Mimi, we met in the Pleasant View bit of the tour. She's married to Hart, who is the son of Valentine, who we saw earlier, and they have a daughter together, Mimi. And you'll see Hamilton, even though Mimi is not his daughter, he does still have a friendship with her because he, even though he divorced his wife, he didn't want to hold it against a child who he did for a long time think was his daughter. So they've maintained a relationship, even though it's become a bit more strained, partly due to the distance. Hamilton is definitely a sim where I've had trouble knowing what to do with him, and also I think he's had trouble knowing what to do with himself. At the beginning of the game, he's living with his mother, who's a heavy career woman. She works in politics. And Hamilton was working in politics as well as her campaign manager. And you see, he never progressed past the campaign manager point. He retired. And now that his mother is deceased, she was buried in their garden. I'll have to respawn her grave now that I've had to reset the house. He's been, he's single now. He's become an elder and just recently got retired. And it's been hard to figure out what to do, what he should be doing with his life. He went on a date with some townie recently, but the date didn't really go that well. And I don't know, ever since he broke up with Sandy, grew up, had a lousy birthday party and then retired, it's just not been easy to figure out what's next for him. Because normally when a sim is an elder, I have them in a couple. Whereas he kind of got divorced right before retirement, similar to Mary Sue Pleasant, I guess. Well, she got divorced a little bit earlier. And he's got this huge house, but it's only him living here. I've wondered about having him perhaps take on a lodger. I think that could be a way to kind of just make the household a little bit more lively. We could also move him into something like a retirement home, but I don't know. I feel like he isn't even that old. Oh, maybe he's older than I thought. I would like to see him find love again before he passes on as well. I don't know. Who else is there that he has chemistry with? Yeah, none of these are great options. Angela Pleasant, Nina Caliente. I mean, I guess she'd probably be down for a fling, but... And Beatrice Monty, I don't think so. I don't know. It's hard, None of these Sims even go above 2 bolts as well. But then him and Sandy at Mimi's birthday party did share a kiss, so who knows, maybe something could happen there. But at the same time, I don't know if Hamilton is someone who is that romantically focused. I think part of why him and Sandy divorced is she was like a very ardent, very sexual person, and he kind of wasn't really. I think he was more focused on other things. You know, he's a popularity sim. They're often, in my experience, he in his lifetime wanted to own 5 top-level businesses. Oh, interesting. I wonder if he could maybe start some sort of business in his old age. His hobby is sports, and I've been trying to do a bit more with that. It's gone now, but I did buy him a sports net, and I also built, where is it? I don't know if you can see it from here. Oh yeah, no, there it is. There it is. I built that sports park kind of partly for Hamilton so that he'd be able to like get a bit more into sports. Another thing with Hamilton is that he spends a lot of time drinking. You know, they've got this little bar in their house, and if I just leave him autonomous, he just drinks and drinks and drinks. So considering his twin interests of sports and alcohol, I wonder if we could have him open up like a sports bar in town, because this is a small town. It's the sort of place you might expect there to be like a little bar on the side of the road. This is meant to be the highway, right? So you've got like the general store and a couple of rest stops there, but maybe like an old bar here, or maybe further up. I say an old bar, it won't be an old bar, it'll be a brand new bar run by Hamilton. But yeah, actually, I think that's probably what I will do when I next get to his round. Because just having them wait for their kids to move back in, it's not, you know, they might not move back in, you know, they're adults. And just because he lived with his mum his whole life, her whole life, I guess, it doesn't necessarily mean his children would want to do the same. Although they might, especially Virginia, I could see moving back. But, you know, I don't want Hamilton to just be sitting on his hands in the meantime. And I don't think necessarily every sim has to remarry or has to matchmake. My own mother, after she got divorced, she hasn't really dated since. And it's not because, you know, I don't know. She's just never been that interested in it. So I don't want to impose that on my sims. You know, if Hamilton finds someone he really likes, fair enough. But I don't want to force it just for the sake of pairing up every single sim. You know, I don't have a perfectly even number of sims of the same age demographic in every neighborhood. So, but okay, right. Let's move on then to the next house. So we've gone through now all of the original households that come with... Oh, please don't crash. Please don't crash. Okay, there we go. Right, we've gone through all the households that came with Widespot, and next we've got a few extra families. Most of them that I've moved in here are from Riverblossom Hills, and we've got a few students as well. But also, very critically, we have the Ottomas family. They are one of my favourite families. I've always liked them. I know some people find them challenging or ugly. I disagree, I think. Well, I don't disagree that they're challenging, but I think their faces have a lot of charm. And I also just think they're a really charming family in general. I don't know. I guess I've got a soft spot for like slightly dysfunctional, very large families, you might know from my other games. My other saves. You know, I like a dysfunctional couple. I like families with like loads and loads of children. I like it when elders are part of the family. So yeah, the Ottomases have always been up my alley. And I feel like they're kind of, some people think they're a bit like redneck coded, or I don't know. I think they fit in quite nicely with Widespot, because Widespot is a family, again, that has like a lot of elders included in the families. It has a lot of dysfunctional relationships, and it has Sims with more like unique and exaggerated facial features. So I thought it made perfect sense to move the Ottomases in, and that way it just helps with the diversity in the neighborhood, since Widespot on its own, I mean, this is an Uberhood, so it's not really a problem, but Widespot on its own, it can get kind of, not inbred. All the families end up related to each other very quickly if you don't add more families. So yes, that's what I did. Okay, everything seems to be fine. And hey, this house is looking surprisingly good. I'm not seeing as many. I mean, I don't think that's meant to be there. But overall it's all right, isn't it? So I think this house was originally by Honeywell. It came with the bespoke build set. Why is he floating? Why is he just a floating head? Oh, Tommy, please. Charla, why do you have a shoe attached to your arm? I think that is a default gone wrong. Tommy, could you please change it to your everyday? And we'll try and... There we go. Okay, so he's looking more normal. Charla, I need you to get changed as well. Okay, we're in a slightly better position. Right, so let's put everyone in there every day. I've just remembered I have this. Right, so Dora Ottomas, my love, my treasure, here she is. This is the grandmother of the family. Is anyone else watching Tea Addict's series with this family? I've been really enjoying it. I was really sad to see Dora pass away last round. Anyway, so Dora Ottomas, she is getting a lot older, as you can see. She's 90 days old. My aging in this neighborhood is always messed up. I never know when anyone's going to die, and everyone's always the wrong age, so I don't keep track of it that closely. But if you look at her memories, although she has a son, Peter, she never married. And I always felt like that was a bit sad for Dora. Like, she never found love, even though she's a family sim. And, she had this one son who she obviously devoted a lot of time to, and devoted a lot of time to her grandchildren. But I always hoped that Dora would meet someone, and she ended up really hitting it off with Matthew Smith. So if you watch my Spruceburg series, I have a real soft spot for Matthew Smith. I think he's a sweetheart, and that's mainly because of him and Dora in this neighborhood. He's one of the townies that comes as part of the garden club when you first get seasons. And yeah, I don't know, they just had like a cute vibe together, and they recently got engaged. So that's what's been going on with Dora. She has a few friends as well who are like the other old ladies in the neighborhood. Oh, I say she has a lot. Maybe she doesn't. Well, she's friends with Betty Viejo. And then we've also got Matthew Smith doesn't know anyone yet, although he is really good friends with Hamilton, actually, which is nice to see. And right, okay, I don't know why I didn't open with this, because it's obviously really important. Something that happened in this neighborhood for me is that Samantha Ottomas died. It's very sad. She's the Peter's wife, former wife, I guess, because she's passed away, and the mother of all his many children. For some reason, mentally, I was really thinking they had like a lot more than this. I guess because I've been going, they usually have more children, but while she was pregnant with their latest child, I'm not always good at looking after pregnant sims, I suppose, and she died of hunger, which was horrible. So the headcanon is that she had some sort of difficult pregnancy. I don't know, it was very, very sad, especially because they were quite a close-knit family, and Peter he's a romance sim, as you know, but I say as you know, maybe you don't know, Peter is a romance sim. And I was originally planning on playing him as like a kind of cheating scumbag husband, but he was like pretty loyal to her, and he hadn't, cheated at all. And the fact that Samantha just died, I don't know, it was horrible. They'd had like quite a happy little life together. Obviously, he's got the sad, the memories of, but yeah, look, no woohoo memories or anything. Then she just died, and it was horrible. It was really sad. The timing of it was really terrible because Matthew proposed to Dora. Originally, she was planning on sort of moving out and letting Peter and Samantha kind of stand on their own 2 feet without Grandma's help. But because Samantha had died, Dora felt like she couldn't leave after all. So she has stayed in the family since and carried on looking after them. And Matthew moved in with her instead. So Peter, since his wife passed on, he has been kind of like seeing other people. He's gone on a date with Sharon Worth, and he went on a date with Roxy Sharp. These are girls who are like a little bit younger than him, but he's he lost his wife, so what can you do? This is, I guess, the second romance sim male to lose his wife and then start being kind of, oh my god, Dora, are you okay? Whew. Anyway, so yeah, he's kind of a horn dog. You know, he's not happy about his wife dying, obviously, but he's like, well, I guess I might as well make the best of things and date a bunch of young women, I guess. But I believe this was Peter and Samantha's room up here. And then they had I don't know why they have this little bit up here. Like, this is a sofa bed and it folds away. It's a very cool little item. But you know, what's the point of it? I don't know. I don't remember. And okay, this is Dora's room. And then here we've got Charla's room. She grew up into kind of like a skater look, and she has a want to get a job in the athletic career. That suits her well because she is quite sporty. Well, she's a fitness enthusiast. What is going on with these icons? She's a fitness enthusiast and she is quite sporty. So I gave her like this little skateboard, and she's got this like skater girl kind of look. There she is. Her older brother David is currently at university. He ended up joining the fraternity at Sim State University, so that's where he is at the moment. He's got a girlfriend, Sam Thomas, but Sam Thomas kind of has a thing going on with Dustin Broke right now, so I don't know if they'll stay together or not. I suppose we'll see. The third child, Tommy Ottomas here, is a romance sim. When he grew up into a teenager, it's a shame, I think I got rid of the custom content, but he grew up into this great little hippie outfit, which I thought was really fun. How he was also a romance sim, and he had like the 60s rainbow shirt. So, you know, my image for him is as a real kind of free love kind of guy, you know, very free spirited. He's had a few dates, I think. He's gone out with Oliver Goff and also Tessa Ramirez. So, and Mimi Beech, apparently. Did I see that correctly? Yes, Mimi Beech as well. But she, I think now is with Tycho Curious, and that's probably going to be pretty serious. He does have a want to go steady though, interestingly. So I don't know. Maybe he'll settle down with one of them. Him and Oliver Goff do have pretty good chemistry, and Oliver's a pleasure sim. So maybe that could be something. It looked like I did lock the want. The two twins are currently away at summer camp. I talked a bit about them in my Pleasant View video, I suppose. There's not that much to say about them. They're cute though. Ethan, I imagine he rolled the vehicle enthusiast trait, so I always imagine he's really into NASCAR. Yeah, I don't know. It's a nice family. I think this was the twins' room. Yeah. And then I guess this must be... Oh, right. Okay, this is Tommy's room. It's got like a kind of hippie vibe a little bit, right? That makes sense. And then Charla's, like I say, upstairs here, and the twins were in here. And yeah, again, like so many of my lots, this house has been the victim of... Oh, see, Charla noogies everyone, and it does get her into trouble. She's got a few like enemies because she always gets into fights with people. But yeah, obviously that isn't meant to be on the table. But for the most part, the vibe is sort of intact. I really like this house. I think it suits the family really well, and it's one of the few houses I found that kind of has room for everyone. Like I say, it was by Honeywell originally. You can see that a few things have gone a bit wrong, but for the most part, it's not terrible. I think it's nice as well how Charla is a sporty sim. Her lifetime wants to become the Hall of Famer because Peter, if you read his biography, it mentions he loves sports, and will he get to see his dream of having a child be a star athlete, or will they choose different paths? And I think originally he really wanted his eldest son, David, to be a sports star, but David was more interested in music than sports. And I think perhaps Peter, he's a bit of a traditional guy, and he didn't have kind of high hopes for Charla because she is a girl, but she's ended up being kind of the sporty one. And so her and her dad have a bit of a special bond because of it. Although, I mean, he has a high relationship with all his kids, actually. So not so much David anymore, R.I.P. Actually, why doesn't he have a higher relationship with his twins? Why they're not even showing up in his... Oh, because they're not in his house, duh. Friends only. family only. Here they are. Why does he not know Emma? Oh dear, I guess Emma was mostly raised by Granny. Yeah, that looks like that was the case because she's got a super close relationship with them. Oh, that's terrible. I've got to like... Peter needs to be a better dad. But yes, he's got the want for Charlotte to go to college, and she is due to go to college quite soon, 2 days. In 2 days. So the house is getting quieter and quieter. And really, like I say, this is why Dora thought she'd be able to move out, but she sort of feels like she can't leave Peter on his own with his wife having passed away. But maybe if all the kids go to university, I could imagine Peter even like having a huge midlife crisis and getting a place downtown or something. And then Dora could downsize with Matthew. I don't know. That's if Dora doesn't die of old age. We'll see. We'll see if that happens. And also, like I say, this is like a big house, and this one didn't crash when I loaded it. So what is going on with my game? Oh, they have the elixir of life at the front because they think I didn't want Dora to die. I really need to just let my elders pass away because... it's getting a bit ridiculous, but I will love her so much. I'll miss her. I mean, I've let one elder die in this neighborhood, but then not anyone else. So I feel sort of bad for Daytona because it's like the only reason I didn't extend her life is because I didn't notice she was close to death. Or probably she'd still be alive as well. But now at this point, it's like, well, if I've let Daytona die, surely all these other people who were roughly her age should be dying too. I don't know. I just don't want them to die. And I especially don't want them to die while like living alone without like any family around them. Like, I think I would be more willing to let Sky Weiss pass on if Woody was home. Yeah, maybe when Woody comes back from college, he'll move in with his dad and care for him before he dies. I don't know. It's just so depressing. I don't want Sims to die. But I don't know. I guess they gotta go sometime. Right, let's move on. I guess opposite to the Ottomas family, we have Leod McGreggor. This is a sim who is originally from Riverblossom Hills. Okay, so yeah, again, we're missing some floors. It's fine. Leod, his house is, you might notice, actually the same as his one in Riverblossom Hills. I think I downloaded a makeover of it, but I can't remember who it's by. I'm so sorry. A funny story though. Originally it had a rug in front of the fireplace and like a fire started and everyone burned to death, and I quit without saving because I was so annoyed. Right, there he is. If you're not familiar with Riverblossom Hills, Leod McGregor is a farmer, and he in Riverblossom Hills has this nice little farm. I think it's very cute and I really like him. And he's also set up as being like the love interest of several women in the neighborhood, and I always found this quite funny because in his family pictures, I don't know if they'll show up. Oh, they do. Okay, so these are the pictures that come with Riverblossom Hills. You see him leaving and, you know, his parents waving goodbye as he goes to start his farm. You see him farming, looking a bit sad. It's hard to tell in the picture, but he looks sad. And you can see Betty Goldstein like waving to him with the little heart above her, and he doesn't look interested at all. He's just like, ugh. And then in the following picture, again, there's like an old woman waving at him, and he's just sitting there like with his coffee, and he doesn't seem to really be reacting to it. And then there's another woman like waving at him while he's like just talking to someone on the porch, and then you get all the women gossiping about him, another woman waving, and he's just trying to pick his apples. And I really got this vibe that there's all these women in the neighborhood interested in him, but he does not care. You know, he's not interested. He's not even acknowledging them in any of these pictures. He's just like trying to get on with his farming. And so I made him gay in this neighborhood. I thought it made sense. And I just thought it was a little bit funny. And so the storyline with him is that, you know, he came to Widespot because I kind of combined Riverblossom Hills with Widespot a little bit. So it's like he moved here and everyone was like, oh, who's that handsome young farmer? Maybe he's going to marry my daughter. Maybe he's going to, you know, be the like cool new single guy in town. But actually he's not interested. He's gay. Although he hasn't found like a boyfriend yet. Originally, I really wanted him to get together with Gabe O'Mackey, but they haven't had like that good chemistry. And then Gabe, I don't know. I think maybe I made Gabe straight in the end, so maybe he had a crush on Gabe and it just didn't go anywhere. And then we've got Phineas Furley in this neighborhood, who is gay, but they have very different vibes. I don't know if I see them getting together, but he does have quite good chemistry with Andrew Martin. So that could be interesting. Maybe that's the direction we'll go. But, you know, he doesn't have to date anyone if he doesn't want to. He was really close friends as well with Samantha Ottomas, who died. So, you know, that was very sad. And he's also good friends with Jane Stacks, who also lives in this town and works at the local school. I thought this was his dog, but I've just realised it's just a dog that apparently lives here. Riverblossom Hills Sims haven't been living here that long. I've only played one round with them, I think, so their storylines aren't as developed as some of the other premades, but you know, I'm sure their stories will develop organically given enough time. So that's Leod for now. Oh yeah, and I'm probably going to have him open, I don't know, I was about to say I want him to open a home business, but I kind of don't. I can't be bothered with them. I think he's just going to sell his fruit, you know, the normal way. But I would like him to have a family. I feel like it's so much easier to run a farm when you have a big family in this game. I do like that he wears a kilt, you know, because he wore one originally, and then I saw these like really sick kilts with like boots and stuff. My friend Moocher did make me a recolor of Leod's kilt that was like rainbow colored. He needs to send a message, and so the rainbow kilt might be something that he brings out next round. We'll see. Yes, let's move on to the next house. I guess next, since I'm talking about the Riverblossom Hills families, we'll join the next one, which is the O'Mackey family. So this is Gabe and his daughter Jules. And again, they are originally from Riverblossom Hills. Gabe's wife, the storyline is, and this is a Max's storyline, that his wife left him to become a pirate. So she's living in Desiderata Valley, and you know, she's living with Angela Pleasant, and they're like working together. How's their house fared with my big custom content purge? Oh, it's not too bad, except all their kitchen clutter has turned into little Easter eggs. It's not terrible. It's not the best. I don't think this was a mask before. And there's Jules's room, which actually looks fine, so that's good. And the trees clipping through their house. I think maybe these trees were not huge bloody trees that block the view. I think they were small little shrubs that I've since deleted. I got rid of a lot of trees because I wanted all my decor to be like seasonal. So let's just get rid of all these trees. Lovely. I think this house is originally by Plastic Box, as are some of the other houses, but oh no. As are some of the other houses in this neighborhood. It's not their original house, but maybe I'll switch it out for their original house, because since moving the Riverblossom Hills Sims into Widespot, I've made over like all of Riverblossom Hills, and now I'm like, oh, I wish I hadn't moved them into Widespot, because then I could have had like my nice, pretty renovated Riverblossom Hills. But, you know, it doesn't really matter, does it? So you'll notice I do have a telescope out here, and that's because I'm like, you know, you never know, maybe Gabe would want to have an alien kid. He is a knowledge sim after all, and I think he has a really cute face. So yeah, it was something I'm interested in trying. At the beginning of the game, he has a love interest called Patricia Wan. She lives downtown in my game, and I did split them up quite quickly because I just don't think they have very much in common. They're not super, their chemistry wasn't great. And I don't know, I just didn't really like it. I also didn't like that Jules and Patricia didn't get along. And I could see ultimately, if you've got like a child who really doesn't like your girlfriend, I mean, you can hope that they'll like get along, but it's sort of on the adult to kind of try and make it work. And I felt like Patricia was very aggressive towards Jules, who is just a teenager. So I didn't really like that setup, so I had them break up. Since then, Gabe has become interested in the school teacher because he works in education as a high school teacher. And so he has one of his fellow teachers, Jane Stacks, who is originally from Sim State University. They've had like a little bit of a romance, but I'm not sure if it will go anywhere because he is a little older than her. Although really young at the okay, maybe he's not that much older than her, because I guess I added Riverblossom Hills a lot later. And also, she does still have like some old flings from college she hasn't quite let go of. I find with family sims, even though they are, people are always like, oh, you have family sims that like cheat, but the reason is that they don't ever want to like let anyone go. A lot of sims, once they've broken up with someone, they're like broken up and that's the end of it. But family sims, they keep everyone in their heart, and so they're always getting back together with their exes. I guess if they like get together with their high school sweetheart, it's not a problem. But if you try and have a family sim move on from someone and get together with somebody new, I guarantee they will like be hung up on their ex permanently. So that's the situation with them. Jules Omaki, love her little face. She is kind of a bit bratty. Her ex at the beginning of the game is Jacob Martin, but I think she's going to get back together with him. But I don't necessarily see them together long term because their chemistry isn't even that good. I feel like she just wants to be with him on principle rather than because there's like a deep feeling of love there. I think it's more of a friendship. But at the same time, I haven't found anyone she has really good chemistry with. And I believe I've got her as straight, but I've wondered about making her bisexual. We'll see. Maybe that could be something she figures out about herself when she goes to college. I think college will open a lot of doors for her romantically. It seems like she doesn't know she doesn't have many interests, but that's because, there just aren't that many teenagers in the neighborhood right now. But she wants to become a media magnate, so, she'll go to college and hopefully get a job along those lines in the future. I think I'd like her to go to Sim State University, because that college has a bit of a shortage of Sims, and I don't imagine I tend to send the normal Sims to Sim State University, the freaks and weirdos go to La Fiesta Tech, and then the rich snooty Sims go to Academy Latour. There are some exceptions, like if a Sim's really like scientifically gifted, they might go to La Fiesta Tech. And if a sim is really artistically gifted, they might go to Academy Latour on scholarship. But that tends to be how I play it. She is probably going to want to do a English degree, and I think Sim State University makes the most sense for that. She is going to college this round, so that's something I'm really looking forward to. I've got a lot of teenagers kind of ready for college, and a lot of college students that are like ready to graduate. So college is in a bit of a in-between state right now, where like soon it will be ready. But in the meantime, not so much. Oh, one thing about them as well is Gabe Omaki has a brother, Jason Greenman, he's living in Desiderata Valley in my game, but he has his wife who's a plant sim, and they have their children. And Jules really, really likes her cousin. Where is her cousin? Oh, because she's not biological. Daisy Greenman. So she's not her biological cousin because plant sims can reproduce asexually, but her and Daisy are really close. Are they really close? Let's double check. They're not that close. Okay, it's only plus 30. Whatever. I would like them to be really close. Hopefully they will be. Oh, there's Jane, his girlfriend. Well, love interest. She's also really good friends with Violet Jock, which has been quite cute. Again, I've wondered about making them a couple, but I don't know. I mean, Violet Jock is currently dating Rick Contrary, and we'll get to them later on, I suppose. But again, like, I'm not wild about them as a couple. I don't know. I feel like I tend to want to make everyone gay, and maybe that's not I don't know, it's not a bad thing, is it? But at the same time, not everyone needs to be gay, so I guess they've got plenty of time to figure it out. They're just teenagers. Maybe when they go to college, we'll see what's in store. In the meantime, again, we'll move on to the next household. And I know I said I was going to do all the Riverblossom households, but I feel like this family should come next. So Jane Stacks, a pre-made from Sim State University. And then we've also got Phineas Furley, who is a sim from Academy Latour. And I knew Finn really wanted to work in politics, and Widespot after Daytona Beech died, and then Hamilton retired. Kind of had a bit of a, opening for a local politician to kind of arrive and I felt like he was a really good candidate to be the like young politician who's gonna like take Widespot to new places. And Jane Stacks, I felt she's a family sim, and maybe like a little place in the country would really suit her, especially with the outfit she aged up into. I don't know, it's always given me like little countryside vibes. Oh no, once again, the custom content purge, making so many things just look ridiculous. But anyway, I mean, you can still see their kitchen. I mean, let's just get rid of all these Easter eggs so that we get a better idea of what it should look like. And then imagine there was loads of cute stuff here and you get kind of an idea. Whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm not saving anyway. But so we've got Jane Stacks here, who graduated university and moved to the countryside. And oh, have a baby. Well, I'm not going to lock it because I'm not saving. But so she moved to the countryside. And originally, I was going to have her and Castanova get back together after they finished college. But then she also started getting back together with her ex, Martin Rubin. And then she's also had this really cute local romance with Gabe Mackie. So I'm really torn on what to do with Jane. You know, she's a very popular sim. She went to university with Allegra and Martin Rubin. They were roommates, so she's remained very close friends with them, even though they are. Allegra lives in Veronaville now, and Martin lives in Strangetown. But like I say, they've remained very close, and she's also good friends with, you know, a few other Sims. She's made friends with the locals a little bit. You know, she's friends with Leod McGregor, who lives just across the way somewhere. Where is Leod? Where's this bloody farm? Oh, it's over there. Yeah, anyway, she made friends with Dora, who also works in the education career, and she's friends with Gabe. And then, yeah, when she became friends with Gabe, they like really hit it off and they had quite good chemistry. And I wasn't planning on getting them together, but they had like a cute kind of thing going on. And I was like, maybe Jane needs to forget about these like college boys that she went out with back then and like move on with her life. But I don't know, if on a community lot, she and Martin are both at the same party, they always start flirting. You know, she's bumped into Castor at pubs. You know, when I'm playing other households, I see them in the background flirting. So maybe it's not going to work out with her and Gabe. I'm not sure. I'd like her to make up her mind, and or I guess maybe I need to make up my mind for her. I'm not sure, but we'll have to ask the others to just be friends, and then we're going to have to settle down with someone, because she is a family sim and she wants to have a baby. She does have the best chemistry with Castanova. I don't know though if he's the best partner for her. Not that he's like a bad guy, but he has chemistry with so many sims, and I feel like he isn't necessarily at the settling down and having kids stage just yet. Anyway, and then the other sim is Phineas Furley. He is, like I say, a pre-made from Academy Latour. His bio says he's a loner. Nobody seems to want him around or care what he has to say, which to me, it says he's busy trying to change the world, but I got like kind of an obnoxious vibe from him, especially because he's also so serious and not that nice. His lifetime want was to become mayor, so this is where he's starting out his political career. I say starting out, he's already a congressperson. The career is so much easier when you've got a university degree. And he is a fortune sim, a family sim, but since he's like career motivated, I made him a fortune secondary. One thing about him that is just so vile, maybe not that bad, but so you've got the money tree, right? And normally only really sloppy sims will like pee in bushes. They can pee in bushes, sloppy sims, if you don't know. But I don't know if it's just the money tree is coded differently or what, but I saw Phineas like pissing on the money tree and then like collecting the money afterwards with this like smarmy grin on his face, and I've just kind of hated him ever since. Maybe that's a bit harsh, I don't know. I just thought it was disgusting. He is gay, but I don't know, he doesn't have chemistry. Well, he has good chemistry with Leod, but I feel like, I don't know, maybe they, you know, it could work, you know, a farmer and a politician. And he has good chemistry with Frances Worthington, which could be a really good match, but Frances is already taken. And then he had like some dormy he went out with, but I try not to let Sims like get together with dormies or townies like long term. They're like only good for flings, you know, premades only. Yeah, I don't really know what to do with this guy. I don't really like care for him. I don't know. Maybe it's a bit rude to just be like, I don't care for him. I love all my Sims equally, but I don't really. I don't know. He's a family sim, so like he would want to like get together with someone and settle down and start a family. And I think it would be good for his career too as well. You know, when you're a politician, it looks good to be like more of a family man. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see if we can find someone for him. I don't want to like change him from being gay just for the sake of having a family. Although what if he had like he could have one of those, like they could have a lavender marriage, or he could like get together with someone while like being gay and having affairs on the side. But I don't really see that as being his vibe. I think he's quite a person of upstanding moral character. So I don't know if I see that for him, but that's where we are. Does he have any friends? No. He went to university with Ellen Frost and he is still friends with her, but not close friends. Oh, okay. She get promoted to elementary teacher. That's nice. Good for her. Maybe if she ACR has a baby with someone, then she can just marry them. I don't know. We'll see. They're an interesting pair of roommates. They are friends with each other. So, you know, there's that. And I could see them staying in Widespot. I think it's a good place for these two and kind of forming some new branches of this town. So that's a good thing, I think. All right, and the very last household is I never know how to pronounce this one. I say like Viejo family. So you see this family, they're from Riverblossom Hills, and it says, can Catherine and Betty cope with the loss of their close friend and face their own imminent mortality, or will they find a way to cheat death? Will Jacob and Andrew find a way to fulfill their dreams in the great game of life? So the storyline is meant to be that Andrew Martin, this is him here, after his wife and mother both died, he moved in with his mother's two, like, close friends. I don't know, I always found it a bit strange. So I changed it so that Betty, Catherine, and Andrew's late mother were actually like a kind of like lesbian polycule. I don't know, maybe this doesn't make more sense, but it made more sense to me, so that's what I did. And I think it was very cool. Very cool of me. How come the window works from this side and not from this side? How strange. Anyway, so the storyline where, that I changed it so that they were like a lesbian triad, and then I did end up getting Catherine and Betty married because they both rolled once to do so. They only have one bolt, but I think they're a couple who've like been together for a really long time. And obviously it wasn't always just these two. Originally they also had Linda, and I think, you know, without Linda, it hasn't quite been the same between them, but they are still very in love. Catherine is a romance sim, but she doesn't have like anyone that she has amazing chemistry with, interestingly. I mentioned she like has a crush on Valentine Hart, but you'll see if we actually look, she doesn't even have any chemistry with him, which is weird because she is bisexual. So I like to imagine she was like a fan of his, you know, because he's a sports superstar. And yeah, she flirts like playfully with him, but they don't really have anything going on between them. And her wife, Betty, she used to be Betty Goldstein, but when they got married, she took Catherine's name. She is working as a lawyer. She's a personal injury attorney. Originally, she was on the elder track, but her bio really made it sound like, you know, she was throwing herself into work, and it made it really seem like it should have been her career since she was younger, not like a little hobby career for an old lady. So I changed it to the adult career track. And she is, working as a attorney. And these two are fairly low drama. They're like a nice little couple. And we've also got he's not their son, he's Linda's son. But so in my mind, because Linda and these two were a triad. So when Andrew was at least a teenager, maybe younger, you know, he had all three of them in his life, and these two were like his stepmothers. So he has a close relationship with them. And this is all to justify the fact that he started living with them at all, because I didn't really feel like it made sense otherwise. I mean, I guess it could. Like, you can have close friends that you're living with, I guess. Why not? But I don't know. I just wanted it to be cute lesbian elders, so that's what we did. The vibe is very much that while they do love Andrew and they're happy to have him here, they wish he would move out and give them a little bit more space to enjoy their, you know, retirement together. And they're like, you know, he's cramping their style a bit. He's in the basement with his, you know, gamer setup. So he works in the gamer career as a gold farmer, and the story is that he's just lost his wife, and he hasn't met anyone else yet. He's bisexual. But yeah, he hasn't really been on any dates or anything. I've only played him for one round, and I was playing him as very depressed, you know, still very much still in mourning over his wife. So I haven't been prioritizing romance for him by any means. I've just been trying to get his life a little bit back on track. He has been on one date with Heather Huffington, but very unusually, he like wasn't that into her and kind of like turned her down towards the end, even though they've got 3 bolts. So that really reinforced my view that he's still in mourning. One thing I really like, how he has the like headphones around his neck, you know, the gamer vibe. I think he's a very cute sim, like quite attractive. So hopefully he can get out of this little basement situation and make something of himself. I think the gamer career is fun for him, though. I'll probably keep him there. And he also has his son Jacob, who what is there to say about Jacob? He's going out with Sandra Roth, but their relationship is not going well, and probably they will break up soon. I play it that Sandra is like just quite a pushy person, very ambitious, and kind of, she a little bit talks over him and like makes decisions about his life for him without really consulting him. And, you know, he's like a teenager, so it hasn't really been bothering him that much, but he has kind of low-key started flirting with Jules again, who is his ex-girlfriend. So maybe they're going to get back together. I don't know. Again, I don't see either of them in with him for long term, because neither of them have that good chemistry with him. His lifetime want is to become Captain Hero. What's his bio say? He loves gaming with his dad. What a cool dude. Will his love for games hinder his relationship with Sandra? I don't know. I'd really like him to become friends with... Oh, no, he's very good friends with Rick Contrary, since they are both gamers. Rick's got his whole little gamer storyline in Desiderata Valley. He's also friends with Violet Jock, but again, like, not great chemistry. Violet, Rick, and him and Jules all hang out together sometimes, and, you know, I think they're a very fun group of friends, but I don't really see anything romantic between any of them. I guess we could try, you know, gamer for gamer, you know, they could both get together, but I don't know. I don't know. I feel like Jacob does have straight guy vibes to me. I don't necessarily see him being queer. I mean, he could be. His dad is, and his grandmas are. But, you know, it's nice to have the token straight boy in a family, I feel. He, like many of the other teenagers, will be off to college very soon. I think once he goes to college, I could see Andrew moving out and kind of getting his own place, but maybe not immediately. I think he'll probably stay home for at least one more round, but I'd like to work a bit more on trying to find somebody nice for Andrew, because he deserves it. And I don't know what is going on with their bedding and that weird lump. Again, their house has been a bit of a victim of one of my custom content purges. It's been a few years since I played this neighborhood, and I think when I last played it, I had something absolutely horrendous, like 36 gigabytes of custom content, and I've since brought it down to like 26, which for me, you know, not bad, but it does mean like, there's so many houses that I'll have to like redecorate. Sad. Yeah, that's everyone. Right, and I could show the Sims that are living downtown, but part of me feels like we're going to be doing downtown next episode anyway, so it might be nice to just check in with them then, and in the meantime leave it, because, you know, I think Widespot's like a cute little neighborhood, and, you know, nice. It's not really self-contained because everybody's moving all over the place, but yeah, I think we'll do downtown next time. So we'll catch up with the Sims from here that are living downtown. And then I also want to do university at some point. And as I've mentioned, that loads of the Sims from Widespot are currently living at university or about to go to university. So yes, we will do that one later. Hopefully this was interesting. I feel like I say this is not as well known a neighborhood, obviously, as the Maxis ones, but it's one that's very near and dear to my heart, and I do really enjoy playing it, even though, you know, a lot of the families are in like kind of weird positions at the moment where a lot of people have moved away. But I think that kind of is realistic for small towns, right? You know, people move away and then perhaps they come back when they're a little bit older. This is very much the sort of place you move to when you're ready to like settle down and like retire with your family to somewhere quiet. It's not really somewhere you move as like a bustling young 20-something, although some do choose to move here. You know, like we've got Jane Stacks who moved here because she's a quiet family sim who likes the countryside, and we've got Phineas Furley who moved here for similar sort of reasons. So I think once we start having more graduates from university, I can see some other sims moving here. And also once a lot of my downtown sims start wanting to like have kids and settle down, I could see them wanting to move somewhere like Widespot to like give their kids like a nice upbringing. We'll see what the future holds in store for this town, but for right now, we're going to call it there. And thanks so much for watching. If you made it to the end, you know, wonderful. Great to have you watching all of these. Next time we'll be touring downtown, which promises to be, you know, exciting. I love downtown and it has a lot of my favorite kind of, I really like playing the apartments there. For now, I'll say goodbye and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching and have a good evening. Have a good day. Have a good whatever time it is in your time zone. Bye for now.